everyone, this is a continuation of Beginning Programming 1. In the first part of these video series, we discussed algorithms, the input process output cycle, as well as pseudocode. Pseudocode is used to have a shorthand or a way to identify the steps that you want to make sure you include in your logic and design of your program. Within this pseudocode example, we have a program that multiplies two numbers. As stated in the first part of the series, we know that we have to have an input prompt or instructions to tell the user what to do. This is an output statement, even though it is known as an input prompt, because the result of this statement will display the information on the screen. Input num1 and num2. For all our variables, we have to make sure that we have them for all the data that is input into our program. Variables are a way to store values that are entered into the program, and we give them symbolic names so that we can use it throughout our program for further calculation and processing. Num1 and num2 are our variables here. When we create variables, we have to make sure to follow programming standards, and there are ways and characters that you need to use and those characters that you cannot use for your variable names. Please make sure to follow them closely and carefully, otherwise you will generate an error and your program will not be able to successfully run. Result equal num1 times num2. This is a processing or calculation. As you see the format of the statement, you have the resulting variable on the left, followed by an equal sign, and then your two input variables that are calculated or multiplied. This is what is used for all calculations. You always have the resulting variable on the left, followed by the equal sign, and then your equation or calculation on the right. Do note that these are the variables, so we have three variables in the statement: result, num1, and num2. And then our next statement is the output statement. This is displaying the results. Do note you have some of the words are in double quotes and some are not. That's how a program can distinguish between strings or text that are just displayed as they are, as opposed to a variable. When there are no quotes, that means that it is a variable, and as the program runs, it will look then in memory to find the values. A flowchart is another programming tool that is used in order to fine-tune the logic and design of your program. It is a visual representation of your program, and there are certain symbols that you use, and these symbols, depending on their shape, will determine what kind of programming statement it is. There is a correlation for every statement in pseudocode. Typically will be a flowchart symbol in the flowchart. Here are your symbols. You have the oval, the flow line, the parallelogram. Parallelograms are only for input and output statements. Rectangles, those are statements like our calculation or any just standard programming calculation or assignment statement. The diamond is if you have a decision that needs to be made. This is considered or known as the if-then-else statement. Here is the example of a program where we have a number multiplied by 2. Here are the examples of the flowchart next to the pseudocode. As you see, every line of the pseudocode is placed in a symbol in the flowchart, and each symbol in the flowchart is its specific shape depending on the type of statement it is. So to make sure that you learn about these shapes in the flowchart. It does help you with the logic of your program design, especially when your programs are a little complicated. Sometimes when you read the pseudocode, you can't see how the flow of the program will go, because if you have if-then-else statements, there will be branching, and that is what is known with the decision statement. So these are tools that will help you with the program and your program design. So do use them as you create the programs from this class so that you can learn then easily your program and the coding of your program. Here is a link that offers you extra examples of pseudocode and flowcharts so that you can see that. One way to start now with this class is to look at the program assignment for assignment 3 and see if you can create the flowchart in pseudocode. Good luck!